So our agenda for tonight is here. This is what will happen. We'll do quick intros. Basically, I will look through some of the introductions that have already been posted. This will kind of serve as our attendance. So because we're kind of doing that all at once. So if you have not created your introduction, be sure to do that really soon. I'd probably say, tonight, by tonight or tomorrow, definitely before Friday. After that, we are going to jump into the syllabus and also look at the course calendar. And then what I'll do is kind of show the way the Canvas is laid out. Some of you guys have probably already gotten started on that. I will also look at some of the Stat Lab and see how that's laid out. And then in the end, we'll do any questions or comments. Right now, there's a poll going around. You can fill that out and we'll end the poll shortly. Just kind of want to get a little bit of info from you. But I would like to start and show you all where you would start to kind of do your intro. And as you can see, the Canvas page is here, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But when you click on Start here, you could see the link to the students' orientation intros. And another way to get to that is in the discussion section. So just by clicking on discussion, you'll see one of the pinned discussions is right there at the top. This is it. You create a new thread, kind of briefly introduce yourself, and this will be my intro. So welcome, everyone. I see Jade. Jade, if I'm mispronouncing your name, please correct me. You can unmute or.
No, you're right. My name's Jade.
Okay, wow, good. Nice. I see Aldo. Aldo, I don't know if you're here tonight, but that name sounds so familiar. I don't know. I'm wondering if I know Aldo from somewhere. Emily, this is good. I do spend time and read through these, as should everyone else, I'm sure. We'll get to. Emily's here. Taylor. Adit's not here right now, but I've been in touch. Addison is here, good. Oh, computer science, that should be fun. Brooke. Good. Karen. Welcome. All right. Yeah. Oh. So Hunter must be a running start. Let's see, we got Robin here. A lot of computer science and nursing and business. Well, I guess a lot of those programs do require stats. I guess that has a lot to do with it. I know, 28, not bad at all. Sometimes it feels old, but I don't know. It's really relative. 28 is like a good time. This one here. Yeah, that's funny. Um, yeah, Zach here. All right. Yeah, so one of the features, guys, that the Canvas is that I keep activated, it has to do with the people. So you guys actually have access to each other where you can see your name and click on it and probably even message each other. And I do that for the reason of, I think it's great to be able to have that interaction or communication value. I don't see you all in competition with each other. I think we're more on the same team, and that's kind of the way the atmosphere that I like to keep. Let's all just kind of pull each other through this and keep motivating each other and be a resource for each other. I mean, there could be a question that is posed that you might come across, you might already have the answer, or you might have some experience in what that person is going through. And I think that it could be very valuable to be able to chime in and, help facilitate and have conversations and kind of get through this together. It's kind of the vision that I like to see happening. Because it's online, I mean, that doesn't necessarily limit us to not having much interaction. And not only are we online, but we are asynchronous, which means that a lot of the things that has already been set up is already out there. And we're gonna talk a little bit more about that. But I am Professor Thomas. I've been teaching statistics here at Everett CC for about 7 or 8 years now. It's gone really well. My students tend to do really well. And you guys are no exception. I think we will have an awesome quarter, a great quarter. I will say that this is probably, I'm about 95% sure that this class is the last class of using this type of layout. So this is the format that I've been using for the past 2 or 3 years. It's all going to change in September. But this layout has been good. And if you happen to know anyone who's recently had me, then you probably already have all the answers already. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so you're getting a taste of some vintage Mr. Thomas taking this course, because it's run the same identical course over the last several years, and pretty soon it's going to all get remodeled and mixed around. And I'm in the process of developing a lot of my own curriculum and publishing a book that will be used in September. All right, I'm going to end the poll. All right, actually, and by the way, if you happen to have any questions at any time, you can just feel free to unmute and speak up, or just type in the chat, and I will be monitoring that as well. All right, so if you had a chance to fill out that quick survey, do it now. I'm going to end the poll. Let's share the results. Let's see what is going on with us. Question 1. A gang of us have completed the student intros, but there are 2 out of the 8 who have not. Have you taken an online course? The majority, over 80% of us have. And just 1 have not here. Do you like math? Wow, look at that. It's like a 50-50, almost like a 3-way split. That's amazing. Well, you don't have to like math. And besides, this is statistics too, which is another branch of math. It's kind of its own standalone. But I will say that math and statistics in particular is becoming more and more prevalent and more applicable to our daily lives. And anyone who's been following the tech industry know that AI right now is booming. I mean, it is probably for the rest of this decade, it's what everyone's going to be discussing. And statistics is the ABCs of artificial intelligence. And anyone going into computer science or even data science or things like that, you'll see exactly what I mean. And you're going almost in any industry, whether it's medical or, business, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to implement artificial intelligence and weave it into kind of the coursework that you're going to be doing. So really interesting how statistics is kind of a big deal. Just it's all about data and analyzing data and making sense of it. And it's kind of a fascinating course. We'll be skimming a lot of different topics in statistics, but we're going to get into some heavy duty stuff as well. All right, well, before let's get into the syllabus and then the calendar, and then what we'll do is then focus on the Canvas and Stat Lab after that. So I'm going to demonstrate where you would actually go to get the syllabus. So obviously just right here, there's a link that you can click on that takes you to the syllabus page, which spells it all out. But I'm actually going to pull up the PDF document of the syllabus. And so here it is. And I'm just going to skim through this. You guys will always have access to this. You can print it out. You can keep it up. I'm just going to touch on some of the things that should be pointed out. And then if you have any questions at any point, we can double back and get back into it. Prereqs is fine. Let's see. I do go by Professor Thomas, and I will say that Canvas is the best way to reach me, to communicate. That's the way I would prefer to be reached through. And one of the reasons is because if you do message me in Canvas, it automatically sends me an email as well. Sometimes my emails get buried, but I think Canvas is always the first point of contact. And oftentimes I do get some emails, and it's just, I think I probably respond a little faster through Canvas. And I think responding fast is good. So the office phone is rarely used, but there it is. Let's keep going. I will say that office hours are not just at this particular time. In fact, these are just like filler times. The office hours can be at any time. I think they are by appointment only, and they are through Zoom. But I'm even available to meet over on the weekends if there is a need. So I'm open to meet at different times. The later, probably the better. During the day, I'm pretty much unavailable until about 3 or 4 p.m. All right, let's keep going. So the material that is required, and some of you guys already got a jump start on that because I could see you've registered for My Stat Lab. It is the My Stat Lab access code, and the bookstore may not have this, so you may have to get this through the website. And I'll demonstrate where to go to get that. It is pretty valuable. I mean, you get access to the course. There is an ebook available that you get access to. You don't have to physically buy the big hardcover textbook. It's already embedded in the materials here. And I also have a copy in Canvas of the 5th edition of the book, which is just as good as the 6th edition. Another thing that is preferred to have, it's not a requirement because there's actually a way to get through the entire course without having a graphing calculator. And so there's actually an alternative. There's a statistical program called StatCrunch. And because once you buy the MyLab Statistics Access Pass, you get access to using that statistical program. And I do show how to use both. I do some homework review problems I put on my YouTube channel so you can have easy access to them anytime you have the internet. I have some videos that demonstrate how to use the calculator, and also some videos that demonstrate how to use StatCrunch to solve certain problems as well. And so that's pretty cool that we're able to use StatCrunch now, and you could probably get through the entire course without having one of these. But the TI-83 or 84 are perfectly fine. That's the traditional way that it's been done. If you have other statistical capabilities, like through Excel or through some other statistical software or program, you are more than welcome to use that. I'm a big technology guy. I do not restrict the use of certain technologies. There are ways to calculator proof a problem. So I'm not worried about that. It's not a concern. I think that being kind of resourceful is an asset, and that's one thing with learning stats or anything in college. You want to be resourceful. You want to be able to search for things in a quick manner, find things that are relevant to your course, and use it and get on and move on. This is not that course where you spend an hour or two stuck on a problem or two. That's not this course. We will bail you out. We will help you out. I will, if on demand or on request, if you have a need for an instructional video going over a problem, all you have to do is simply just request it. You send me a message through Canvas and say, hey, do you mind explaining this problem? Just give me the section and the number, and I'll get back to you. I'll either write a response in the message, or I will just record a video. If it's not already recorded, I do have old videos from prior quarters of some problems that have come up, and you guys will all have access to those things as well. So that's not going to be a problem. I will say that the library actually does rent the graphing calculators. Like, so if you did want to use a graphing calculator, I think they rent them out for about $20 to $25 for the quarter, and then you just give it back. So you don't actually have to buy it. But that is an option. So I do suggest using technology. The third way that will be shown is how to do certain things by hand. But there are some calculations that it's better suited for the machine. It is a painstaking process to calculate some of these formulas and certain statistics out by hand. And you also have a high degree of going wrong when you go the manual way. But I'm not against it, and we will look at ways to calculate things out by hand and to understand how the formulas work. But just know that we're searching for the elegant way, the quick and clean way. That's kind of the way we want to do things in here, and just be real sufficient in our calculations and understanding how to interpret the results and what the results mean to the context of the problem and stuff like that. So pretty laid back. Not much else really going on in here. You want to take advantage of this structure, the openness of this course, right? The ability to work and maintain at your own pace. I have due dates but I will say to you guys that the due date is just kind of a check-in or a pacing guide. The fact of the matter is you can actually work on the homework after the due date for no penalty. It says it here. I don't know if I can highlight that, but only the homework assignments can be worked on after the due dates for no penalty. So even though there is a due date, it's kind of a weird thing. And as I've confused a lot of people over the years with this, because it's like, well, how is there a due date if it's not really due at that due date time? And again, the only way I can really explain it is the due date is really to let you know where you should be at this particular time. And if in any event that you have not completed the homework up until this point, you don't have to ask me to open it up. It's going to be open already, and you'll be able to work and improve your homework grade for no penalty. Up until the last day of our class, which again has been very confusing for some. And I might as well go on the record and tell you now that there is a time where all the homework shuts off, and it is the day before the final exam opens. So once the final exam opens, you are not allowed to work on the homework anymore. And that's when I consider us to be fully done. And we can look at that date too, to just get it down right. It would be a huge mistake to not work on the homework until the last week or two. It does not end well. I've seen students do it, whether they did it intentionally or unintentionally. They usually didn't get a high enough grade for the homework. And the homeworks actually count for 25% of your grade. In fact, the homework is 25%. There are 4 quizzes. The quizzes are 25%. The midterm exam is 25%. And the final exam is actually going to count for 25%. Now the quizzes, there's 4 quizzes, but one of them will be dropped. The lowest quiz grade will be dropped. And the quizzes are multiple attempts. You have 3 attempts usually it's 3 attempts to take the quiz. And it stays open for about 5 days, the quizzes. One quiz, maybe the second quiz or 2. So one of them will be open for a full week. All right, so you have multiple attempts over a span of time, over a window of time to get those quizzes done. And not only that, your lowest quiz grade will be dropped. And the quizzes are somewhat like the homework, all right? You're gonna have about 20 questions, 15 to 20 questions. You'll probably have an abundance of time to do them. I'm very generous when it comes to the time that it takes to work on the quiz. I don't want time to be a factor. So I'm expected to have a good amount of time. And I can always adjust the time if we feel like we need a little bit more time. That wouldn't be a problem as well. The midterm is scheduled for Tuesday. The midterm is not just Tuesday, though, and that's a little misleading. The midterm exam and the final exam are both going to be open for 48 hours. They're online. You take it online, only 1 attempt, and you have to take it within that 48-hour window. So it actually opens Tuesday early morning, and it closes Wednesday midnight, Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. That's when it closes. So you have from Tuesday, May 9th, all the way until the end of day, May 10th. And that's the same deal for the final exam. It will open at Tuesday at midnight, so right after Monday, and it will be open for 48 hours. You just have to take it one time within then. I will give out a practice midterm exam. There will be a practice midterm exam that will open like a week before the actual test. And we will also have a scheduled Zoom session to go over the midterm. So it's not like this is our introduction and see you later. I'll see you at the end of the course. We will have scheduled Zoom meetings throughout this course. Right now we have two scheduled, the midterm review and the final review, but there could be a need for a couple more, and I will make announcements as we feel like there's a need to have those things. And during that time, it's just like this, you'd log on to Zoom, you would get your questions answered. I would go over a bunch of questions and solutions and talk about the format. I will also be recording it, just in the event that you cannot make it. It'll be posted on my YouTube channel, and you could just access it later. So it'll be up. Well, that's the way the midterm and the final work. And my grading scale, I'm not giving out the B- again, and the C- I'm not. This is a good deal. I also round grades to the greatest integer. Yeah, so it's all there. There are other marks that are reserved for special circumstances, like a Z or a V as an instructor would draw. I've given out an I before. Even last quarter, someone wanted me to give them an I, so I gave them an I. But normally it's this is it. Okay, the goal is to aim for over 90%. And we'll see how that goes. All right, yeah, and the rest of the syllabus is pretty straightforward. We have a lot of just required type of points here. I will say that the syllabus and the course schedule are subject to change in the event of any unanticipated circumstances, and I'll obviously make announcements about that. Let's take a look now at the course calendar, and here it is. The course calendar is it's actually in the syllabus, but there's also another standalone document that I could pull up here. It's just one page. I will also say that there is another way to actually access this too from the home. So if you're on the Canvas main page, you can go into Files. And in the files, you'll see a number of different files, but one of the files will be calendar. And so the way the material is being presented, or the way the sections have been divided, is kind of a Tuesday, Thursday type of stagger. Now, obviously, this class is fully online, so you don't have to go by this. What might work better for you is Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, Sunday. So whatever your Tuesday, Thursday is, it's fine. You just know that this is kind of the pacing that you should want to keep up with. And it's really about working hard in the beginning. In the beginning, you want to hit the ground running pretty hard. And then the tempo kind of slows a little bit after the first quiz, which happens next week. It actually opens next week, Thursday, and it'll close. Probably it will close on the 19th, or maybe it'll close on the. I'll have to look and see when it actually closes. But I'm thinking it's going to be open from Thursday to the Wednesday, and then the pace kind of closes. We'll be covering chapter 4 and chapter 5, and then on May 4th we're going to have a scheduled Zoom meeting to kind of go over the practice midterm and other things about that midterm exam. And The midterm again will be open for that 48-hour period, May 9th and May 10th. And after that, we'll collect the grades and then keep proceeding on to the second half of the course. And after the midterm, the second half of the course changes as well. So we're now starting to get into inferential statistics and making inferences and carrying out hypothesis testing and confidence intervals and normal distribution probabilities and stuff like that. And it's kind of different from what we're doing in the first half of the course. So, but the way it flows is kind of like quiz 1 will be based on everything up until this day. So quiz 1 will only have chapter 1 and 2 on it. And then quiz 2 will have chapters 3 and 4. And then after that, we'll prepare for the midterm. And after the midterm, quiz 3 will be given a week after that. It'll open up, and that will be based on chapter 6 and 7. And then quiz 4, I believe, will just be on 8 and 9. I don't think 10 or 11 will be on quiz 4. I'll have to double check that when the time comes. The final week of week 10 is actually an open week where not much is really due except probably the quiz 4, and the practice final will still be open. But June 12th, the day before the final exam, is that significant day. June 12th is that day where all the homework's closed. You cannot improve your grade anymore. So that's kind of the day before the final. And the practice final closes out on June 12th as well. The practice final and the actual final exam will not be open at the exact same time. And the practices, they're very beneficial. There are a lot more questions, like you might see 50 questions on the practice, and then the actual midterm may only have 20. I just do that so that you can have a little bit more time to practice. And some of the problems from the practice might even pop up on the midterm. There could be a pool of questions that I select. So it's in your best interest to do the practice and the final. I think it freaks some students out because when they do it, it looks like it's grading it. It pops up on their grade. And the truth is no, the practice midterm and the practice final do not count. And it may look like it counts, but it does not. It will be removed from your grading. It was not a factor at all. So you do not have to take it. You don't have to click on it. You don't have to do anything. But I think it's very advantageous to try to have access to it, open it up, maybe print it out, work on it away from the computer, just have access to it. That's what I'd recommend. So now what we'll do is get into, let's get into Canvas and StatLab. And then after that, I'll take any questions. And if there aren't much questions after that, we'll probably just call it good. We'll just wrap it up. So the way it is under assignments, you'll see all the homework assignments. Under the modules, you'll see the assignments as well. So this week 0 stuff, I do recognize that I did activate the Canvas somewhat late. So it's okay if you don't get to all of this. This is just good information for you. Well, I do want you to do the orientation. But about the course stuff, it kind of just explains a little bit about the course. I don't know if this is another link to the syllabus. It should be. Remember, I promised that there was another ebook, a PDF version of the book. This is it. If you click on this, it will download. It's a huge download. There's the book right there. You can do whatever you want with it. There's other types of things. As far as making a schedule, a simple Canvas message will do it. I don't have a Google Calendar set up like that, but maybe some instructors do. Let's click on the next part. This is the netiquette. This is good stuff. Basically, when we do come together, or if we happen to post certain things, there are certain guidelines and just kind of expectations that we would really want you to kind of adhere to, just to kind of respect kind of the learning environment and keeping it and everything positive. And it's kind of the things that we tolerate and what we don't tolerate. So it has a lot of good language in here. This is stuff that I'm pretty sure everybody's all familiar with. The next thing we have here is this concept of the growth mindset. This is just something I came across. I liked it so much, I thought I'd share it. It kind of has 4 different videos, and these videos kind of answer these questions. The first video is about, determining what a growth mindset is and whether or not you have one and why you might want to have one. The power of making mistakes, the power of yet, and also embracing challenges is another one. This is great. Thanks so much, Brooke. I'm now reading this. I think I might have seen it. No, I didn't. This is good stuff. This is a good feedback as well. Somebody who's already got to it. Very powerful stuff. It has to do with psychology of the mind and how to get better and stronger at things, even as an adult. And learning about how to learn is so beneficial, and it's a game changer. And it's really a fascinating topic. And I think also it just speaks to being patient with things. There could be times where things could get frustrating, but if you're in the process of training your mind or just having a certain perspective and embracing mistakes, it's going to rewire you and make you a little bit more resilient, and your brain will start to problem solve even subconsciously. It's pretty fascinating stuff. The next thing we have here, and this is good stuff, yeah. Did you guys answer these questions? I didn't even expect you guys to answer these questions. Oh, you guys did anyway. That's amazing. I should turn this into like an extra credit, man. I'm telling you, this is really good stuff, guys. I like that you guys have done that. In fact, I will look into that, into a extra credit type of thingy. I'd have to create a new group or something like that. But yeah, that's awesome. I didn't realize you guys are, wow, that's good. This video talks about how to register for the Pearson MyStatLab. It does cost money. If you're not ready to pay right now, I would suggest still registering it and activating the 14-day trial. So it just kind of buys you time so that you don't miss anything. And then within that 14-day window, you just have to make the purchase. And the best way I would suggest buying it is strictly online through their website. They'll prompt you, like right after you make the account, they'll probably ask, hey, do you want to activate the trial or do you want to pay for it? And if you pay for it, they'll give you the things. Did anybody here do it that route or activate the 14-day trial or actually paid for it off of the Pearson site yet? Can anybody speak to that? Was the process pretty straightforward or?
I did the free trial for 14 days. It was really straightforward. You click on a link and then it automatically enrolled me into your class.
Perfect. Nice. And so now here's where it gets down to chapter 1. The lecture video is here. It's just a quick little intro of the chapter. It's the PowerPoints. It's a PowerPoint presentation that kind of summarizes chapter 1. Underneath that is the PDF of the chapter 1 notes. I call them the chapter 1 notes. They're basically a summary of the chapter 1. They do have some problems and examples as well. So it's almost like a little study workbook. But it does contain a summary of a lot of the concepts. So sometimes if I forgot something, I'll go quickly in here and look for a formula as opposed to the textbook. Sometimes I just find it a little faster to navigate through here. And so every chapter has it that way, like all of the sections are in this one chapter 1 lecture video. And then if you keep hitting the next button, it will pull up the Pearson homework assignments. So it's already embedded inside here, but there is another way you can actually go to the Pearson website and log in. Some people feel more comfortable doing it that way because the screen is just bigger. It's not just, you're not just embedded in like a section of your screen, so it can kind of get kind of small and hard to navigate. But you know you've logged in successfully when you click on an assignment and you see the multiple choice questions open up. So all of the homeworks are open now, so that you can kind of work at your own pace, and it's pretty straightforward. You click on a question, they will ask you a bunch of questions about something, and you got to figure out, what's what. So you kind of have to move and drop, and what is a confounding variable, a lurking variable, experiment, confounding, observational study, so on and so forth. You have to place those in a certain area, and then you move on to the next question. Pretty straightforward. You can see the different lists of problems here. Sometimes you can access the textbook. It'll open up to the section or the StatCrunch or AskMind structure. So there are resources for you. Sometimes they're doing more practice, like after you ask and do the question, you get multiple attempts at this. It's so there's an unlimited amount of attempts for the homework. So the multiple choice questions, you can always just redo them and improve your grade on these. So people tend to do really well on the homeworks. So aside from the lecture videos, I do want to point out that in the file section, there are, all the stuff that, not much stuff here, just the book, the calendar, the syllabus. In the uploaded media, I actually have a copy of the practice final and the practice midterm. But I guess where most of the resources will be in our Canvas page is under discussions. A lot of people don't put a lot of resources in discussions. They save discussions for discussions. But for me, I like putting things in the discussion section. So when you click on discussions, it gives you all the lecture videos by chapter all together. That's one little discussion thread. Another thing that a lot of people don't realize, or they just forget to click on it, this link here. It says helpful random homework problem videos. So these are like problems that have come up in the past that I've made a video about. So, and they're kind of in order. So I guess I don't have anything from chapter 1 or 2. I'm willing to make something from 1 or 2. I haven't had it in the past, or at least not here. There's some from homework 3.2, 3.2. This is a problem on homework 4.1, number 5, using StatCrunch. Some more from 4.2 and 4.3 using StatCrunch and Excel. 4.3, number 3, and I talked a little bit about the quiz 3. This is probably going to be a good video. Homework 6, I did numbers 11 and 21, and I showed how to do it in StatCrunch. 6, 2, 7, 8, and that's it for that. So I've created some helpful videos, and they're pretty helpful. Aside from that, the notes are here. Okay, it's another place for them. Wait, what's this? Oh, the lecture. Yeah, we already have that. There are the PowerPoints. So those are the same PowerPoints that I've used in the videos. We also have additional resources like other playlists. So here's my statistics playlist. It's pretty exclusive stuff. A lot of some of my YouTube videos are they're what's the term? They're unlisted, so that they're not really public. But this will link you to all the public statistical videos that may be on here or may not be. I also found another YouTube channel. This is from someone else, and they use the same book that we used. You know how sometimes you'll search for YouTube for something and it's not exactly like the problem that you're looking for, but it's similar, it's good enough. It gives you an idea. Or sometimes you'll search for something, you're like, I just can't find my exact problem. I don't want to use someone else's. It's just not, it's not a perfect fit. I chose to put this link here because they were doing videos from our curriculum. And so it just kind of, it's just an additional resource that could be valuable for some. And just by clicking on there, they're doing some of the problems. I don't know how they worded it all, but there's quite a lot of homework problems written out. It could be beneficial. And then my playlist is
Why
here
should you use Miro? When you
as
draw
well. I'm getting more and more videos. There's a lot of just kind of, it's not as organized, a lot of random stuff, but again, a lot of my videos have been unlisted. So that's probably why they're not going to be here. Not as many videos as I've created. Here's another website where it links you to this statistical kind of program where you could click on here, input a bunch of data. I'll just call this rain, and I'll just add a bunch of data. Let's just see. And what it will do, I'll create a bin size of 3. Actually, let's calculate. And it will do some things. It will make some calculations for me. And I thought this was a pretty good resource. There's quite a lot of different things that you can do. You could create a pie chart, a bar chart. You could download it and do all kinds of things, scatter plots. And when it gets down to some of the inferential statistics, inferences, the population means, the confidence intervals and stuff like that, it will do some of these things for you as well. So this is kind of like a calculator in a sense. This is a free online website that does a lot of statistical analysis and stuff like that. To do these out by hand, it'd be quite the task. And so it's very convenient to be able to do some statistics using statistical tests and having access to this. So that's another resource in there. I don't have much else in there. If you happen to run across something that is pretty valuable, just let us know. I could link it into the resources and stuff like that. Here's a resource on the graphing calculator and how to do some of the basic things. If you happen to have a graphing calculator, it kind of shows how to calculate certain things that you might need to calculate once it's time. Once we get into about chapter 2 and 3. There's also the student solution manual. I thought this is pretty valuable. I've posted this for you all. You don't have to go out and buy it. So these are the solutions to the odd problems fully worked out per chapter to the textbook. And the problems that we do online are problems from the textbook. The numbers don't necessarily correspond to each other, but 9 times out of 10, the problem that you're working on is probably from the textbook. And sometimes you can find resources based on that, on how to approach certain problems and stuff like that. So that's just Student Solutions Manual there. That's about it for Canvas. There's probably a bunch of other things that I'm leaving out, but I'm just going to move over to, we're going to look into MyStatLab. But I will say this before going into MyStatLab, is that the main purpose too of Canvas is for you to check your grade. In MyStatLab, MyLab and Mastering, the Pearson, they have your grade there, but it's not maintained. It's not accurate. And so it's just important to realize that you might see something graded in Pearson, but that doesn't count. It's only the grades that get synced and uploaded into Canvas. So sometimes you could be working on something in the Pearson site and it hasn't fully populated yet into the Canvas page. And it's probably already happened, right? There could be students already who've already started on the homework. And it's not going to appear in Canvas until I actually sync the grades, like I'm about to do right now. I'm going to sync the grades for the first chapter. And I know that it's not due yet, but I will sync them on occasion, just so that you can get a picture of what you've done on it already, things like that. Okay, so, and there was a question coming in about, do we actually need to buy the textbook? And no, it's not, you don't have to buy the textbook, but you will have to buy the access pass. So that's what we're going to talk about next, is where to get the access pass. And it's all about the MyLab and Mastering link, because that's where you go to get access to the Pearson website. And so it's all embedded inside of Canvas. This is the yellow button. You click on the yellow button and it brings you into the Canvas page there. And so now you have access to the StatCrunch and other resources. This is where you can do your assignments. And not only that, there's this video and resource library. I'm going to show you this. This is pretty valuable. If you click on the video and resource library and you choose chapter 1, for example, and we'll choose section 1.1, select all of the resources available. And as you can see, they have quite a lot of videos based on using how to do some of the problems, the test prep videos for chapter 1, how to do it by StatCrunch, how to do it by calculator. They give you the PowerPoints. They even have some videos of animations explaining certain problems, and they're doing that for you. This is the book will open up to this particular section, section 1.1. I could have did all sections, that way we just get all of this stuff. But yeah, that's pretty interesting stuff. So a lot of resources there for you that you can use there. All right, so this video resource library is pretty valuable as well. Now the PowerPoints that they give you are the same PowerPoints that I've already linked into our Canvas page, and the book. This will open up to the book and other videos and stuff like that, going over how to solve some of those problems. So for that sense, it's pretty valuable to have access to this. And not only that, this is where the tests and the quizzes will be. When you click on assignments, you'll have to access the homeworks and the quizzes and stuff like that. So that's how you're going to get access to that. Here's StatCrunch. So StatCrunch is pretty cool. It's pretty popular. So you just open StatCrunch, and the cool thing about StatCrunch is it will automatically import your data. So that's a step that you don't have to worry about. If you're working on a homework problem and you want to do that problem in StatCrunch, you just open up StatCrunch right from the homework problem, and the data will automatically be there. And then it's just a matter of navigating that page, the StatCrunch page, and knowing where to go to do your calculations, which isn't too terribly hard to figure out once you've done it a few times. So I think I've covered just about all of the things that you needed to know. If there are things that are missing, I will definitely reach back out. My plan is to send out weekly announcements, and I would honestly read them to stay informed. Okay, either Sunday night or Monday night is when you can expect a weekly announcement, and it's usually just a quick little paragraph, but sometimes I will point out certain things, and it's just to kind of keep you informed and abreast of what's going on in the class. So sometimes I've put things in there, and then I'll get a question from a student, and that question is based on something that I've already answered, and that lets me know, like, wait a minute, you must have didn't come to orientation because this is a question that I answered, or you didn't read the announcement that I posted. And I understand that sometimes people don't have the notifications set up, or even have Canvas on their cell phone or something like that, like I do. But it would be good to have access to Canvas from your cell phone. That way you don't have to, it doesn't take you too long to send a message through Canvas or to access your homework. You could do it strictly from your phone, or you can get your announcements and notifications set up. That's what I would recommend doing, just so that when I do post an announcement, the weekly announcement, you'll be able to get it and read it, and then you'll know what's going on that week. So that's about it. The weekly announcements, and also checking inside the discussion for certain resources. These are the two things I think that will really catapult you and give you the right knowledge to head in the right direction for this class and to be successful in this class. I think I've really covered a lot of stuff. I really appreciate everybody for logging in and participating live. I do want to take a few questions if some of you guys may have questions right now. I do see a question coming in about where do we get the homework done using the assignment tab on MyLab and Mastering? So this is a good question. And to do the homework, one way to go about it is to go click on module 1, and then this is the homework right here, section 1.1. When you click on this is what you should get. If you do not get this, then that's a problem. Now, I will go into the student view for a second, because this is what you'll probably see as a student. And this is what you'll see. And when you click on this for the first time, this is what you should see. If you do not see this prompting you to accept these types of conditions and stuff, then something is wrong. All right, one of the things that could be wrong is not using Google Chrome. I think that this is kind of, if you're doing it, if you're logging in this way, you're probably going to have to use Google Chrome. Another way to access the assignments is by clicking on the syllabus and scrolling down, all the way down. Here are all the assignments that you can click on like and access right now. I'm going to leave student view. There's 3.1. Another way to access the assignments is by clicking on MyLab and Mastering, clicking on the yellow button, and then after that, it is straightforward. Once you get past this page, Course Home, you will then see, I'm not going to pull it up right now, but you will then see where to start the assignments. Did I answer your question? So that was a question about where do you actually go? Now, you will have to register before you can access the assignments, and that's just a matter of putting in your information and logging in, and so that's how that's done. Good question. So you really want to just kind of figure out how you want to organize yourself in this class. There's a lot of resources and it's laid out in a lot of different ways. And one of the recommendations I mean, some people like to read first and then do the problems. Some people like to jump into the problems. Some people like to go over the lecture video and then look at the notes and then go through the problems. However works for you, that's what I would suggest you do. But just keep in mind that I'm going to be here for you. I'm a resource. I love talking about stats and answering your questions and making videos that can be instructive for your problems. So I think that this should be a pretty smooth quarter for us. I'm going to end the recording here, but those of you who are watching this through the YouTube, again, thanks for staying in tune and being informed on what is going on in this course.